Okay, so now I am working on a new project, which is to connect a HDMI to my Kenwood head unit. So I just need to get this little grill popped out. And these little tools come in quite handy for doing these things. Anyway, so I need both hands so I can, oh, there it comes. Okay. So, I'm going to remove the radio. I've got my original little things that I stick in, on the sides here, so I can release the radio, but I've got to take these 4 screws out around the radio so I can pull the head unit. I've got to remove this this panel. I'm going to remove one of these sides so I can get in to run an HDMI cable from the head unit. So I will show you how that goes. Now, to get this off, you just stick your pry tool in here and go around and pry it out. So I'm going to do that because I'm going to need 2 hands. And then I think around in this area there's a clip for wires. You just unclip the wires and then you can remove this whole panel. And here is the clip. You just pry this little area right in here open with your screwdriver. And then you can, anyway, you just stick it in there to release it and pull it out. I need 2 hands. Okay, so I just released the head unit, pulled it out. What's happening is those little things are sticking through this slot right here and coming back here and releasing this clip. So I'm going to pull out the head unit and find the HDMI port, and I'll come back. Well, I think I'm going to pull this side so I can stick my hand in there with the wiring. So to do that, I have to remove this screw, and this screw right inside there. So I will, then once I remove that, basically you just pull with 2 hands. I put one hand here on this where I can stick my finger in, and I put one hand up here, and you just pull this piece back. It unsnaps. Okay, I was wrong. It's just these 2 screws, and this whole, as you can see, this whole piece comes out. See, they have a little J hook, so that's why you have to slide it back to get it to pop off. Now I'm going to remove this vent, and to do that, it's this screw here and this screw here. Okay, I did end up taking that screw so you can move this dash piece a little bit to get this to pop out, but then it just pops out. And now you can stick your hand back in there and manage the wiring. Now, you can actually pull this piece out as well if you need this area to be completely open. So this part of the vent will pull out, but I don't think I need that. So now I can stick my hand in there and get this all the wiring and everything to slide out nicely so I have access. I previously drilled a hole there in the side of the passenger side of this pillar because I was trying a different HDMI cable that didn't work. So I'm going to reuse that, but I'm going to try a different setup this time. Alright, I've drilled a hole with my step bit, so a USB cable will feed into that hole, and I can bring it around to the head unit. Okay, so the HDMI, port on this, it's hard to see. So it's right here on the side, basically, and so I plugged that, my HDMI cable into that, and now I'll be putting this little cover back in its place with a screw. I think it goes, anyway, so I'll get that all connected. Okay, so I got that put in. I put some foam around it to keep the pressure on it so it doesn't pull out. Okay, now the next thing I need to do is I have to disconnect this light gray wire, cut it off and connect it to any screw on the back of this to ground it, so then you can actually use the screen when you're driving. Okay, so that light, it's either a very pale gray or green, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's coming out of that little connector next to a purple and white striped wire. That is the connection for the parking brake. So if you simply cut it off and ground it to any screw, any vacant screw, then basically you're grounding it to the case, and so it doesn't, you don't have to worry about having the parking brake on anymore, and you can use the display while you're driving. So what that means is I can actually use the HDMI feature and connect it to my phone and mirror my phone to the display of my Kenwood head unit. So let's keep going and see how it works. Okay, so I'm basically just going to put everything back, and first I put these 3 screws back to connect this. Then I'll be sliding this pillar back in and putting its 2 screws back. I've got 4 screws that I've got to put back in the head unit, and then I've got 4 screws for the panel to put back. So I'm going to put all that back together, and I'll be done with my my head unit connections. Okay, so I've got my phone set up, and now I should just be able to go and select HDMI. And there's my phone mirrored on the screen. So now I can change to Google Maps. I could call up my Sirius. So I can do anything that I can mirror my phone to my Kenwood display. Now, so here's my setup. This is the HDMI cable that I just ran, and this is a little device which I'll put the link to, but it gives you a USB HDMI or USB-C, and this allows you to mirror from either, I believe it's from either Android or Apple iPhones. So it is, and then it just connects. It's got a nice little cord. So then it easily connects to my phone. Okay, so there we have it. My phone is mirrored to my Kenwood head unit. Okay, it's working while driving, which is exactly what I needed to do. So I've got my Google Maps over here. So moving that parking brake connection to just grounding on the case of the head unit allows you to mirror from your phone and see it while you're driving. So that completes this modification.